Hi guys, so welcome back. So the first video of the channel is going to be about GCSEs and like how to get A's and A stars at GCSEs. So like I'll go through what I did for my GCSEs, how I went about like dealing with my GCSEs, any tips I've got, any revision advice, so etc. So hopefully this video will help. So yeah, let's get straight into this. So starting off, my number one tip for GCSEs is the time management, because as you know, GCSEs you do like 10-11 subjects, and so you've got a lot of workload and you have to like make sure that you're efficient with it, dealing with all the time efficiently. So what did I do for GCSEs? I did the 3 sciences: English, literature, language, maths, geography, RE, art, and what else did I do? French. So yeah, and ICT. I think I'm not forgetting anything. So yeah, GCSEs was quite a mixed experience. So now looking back at it, I would say they're definitely not the hardest thing you'll ever do, but you have to be on your game to make sure you reach your potential. So for my GCSEs, I got 5 A stars and 5 A's. So as you guys know, GCSEs for some medical schools are very important when it comes to admissions. So you need to make sure when you're applying, you're looking at which med school requires what. Like for example, Birmingham Medical School, they look at GCSEs 70%, your UCAT 30%. So if you've got strong GCSE grades, you can compensate here and there. Also, the majority of med schools take your school into consideration, so how you did relative to your year. So like for me, my school was not one of the best in England. It was like in the bottom 10-20%, my high school. So basically in my grades, even though 5 A stars, 5 A's, they don't seem as much in the rough context that some people get 10, 12, 13 A stars. But in my school, mine was like one of the highest overall results. So they take it into consideration when they're assessing your application. So don't worry, you're not disadvantaged from coming from let's say not coming from a private school or not coming from a grammar school. So they try to keep it a very transparent and space and a fair system. So so my main advice was, so I didn't follow like a strict timetable when it came to the exams. So let's say I wouldn't be like going, okay, well, on Monday 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. biology, Tuesday 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. chemistry. No, so I'll set my target, because some subjects I knew I needed to focus more. So like sciences, I knew I was fairly strong, but sometimes I knew I was weak in, let's say, history, geography, or some bits of French. So I'll make sure I devote my time accordingly. So that's something you got to work out very well, otherwise you will slack. So one tip I'd like to give is that make sure that you look at your strengths and weaknesses and only focus on your weaknesses most of the time, because you'll feel good going over your strengths, but that won't really help you. So you need to make sure that you're spending more time. So let's say if you're bad at differentiation or maths or some part of maths, make sure you're putting that time in, because otherwise you're just faking it for yourself. You're not addressing your mistakes and your weaknesses. That's the only way to approach GCSEs and make sure you get the highest grade possible. Another tip that I'll have for GCSEs is like how I went about my revision. So for my revision, like I like doing stuff. So let's say I just didn't find typing up notes helpful. Some people do find that helpful, but I personally didn't like typing up that useful. So what I used to do was I'd get flashcards, so like, you know, the index cards. I'll have a big box. I don't have them with me, else I'd show you. So I'd have a big box of index cards. I had like for GCSE, I had like 500-600 for all the subjects combined. So I'd go through my student book or my notes from class, and I'd make flashcards. So all the key information I'd write on the flashcard. It's not like a normal flashcard where you have a question on one side and the answer on the other. So I just literally just put key facts and information which I have to memorize. So every day I'd make sure I'm alternating. So one day I'll go over all my biochem physics notes, the other day I'll go over geography, geography, French, etc. So this every day alternating kept everything fresh in my head, and that was very useful when it came to preparing for the exam. So that's why I suggest, so I say get flashcards and make you writing down is shown to be the highest retention revision method. So yeah, make sure you're doing that. And another thing that was very, very helpful was past papers, especially for biochem, maths, sciences. Yeah, so when you do the past paper, some things, even if you know the facts, as long as you don't know how to apply them, you won't get anywhere. So you need to make sure you nail down all the facts and you apply them to the exam scenarios by doing past papers. So yeah, I know some specs are changing, but make sure you're using the specimens. They're normally 2 sets of specimens. One is on public, the second one with your teachers for a mock. There's 2, so there's like set 1 specimen, set 2. So make sure you ask your teachers for that. They'll give you access to that after the mocks and stuff. So yeah, make sure you utilize that. And yeah, you gotta, because there's some, especially for the new specifications, the resources are limited, but you need to make sure that you make them count. So another thing that I'd say about the revision strategies is also that see what works best for you, because something that works best for me might not necessarily work best for you, or vice versa. So yeah, make sure you try everything out, and there's loads of tests online. I'll put like a link down below about learning tests where you can say whether you're audio, visual, or type of learner. You can come up with what you are, and then you can tailor your revision accordingly. So yeah, that was something very helpful, and yeah, I strongly suggest you do that before sticking to a method of revision, because everyone learns differently. So if something works for person X doesn't mean it'll work for person Y. So you got to make sure that you've covered all the aspects and you know what you're doing. Anything else? So yeah, another tip I'll say is for the languages. So for French, I got an A in French, but the thing I struggled in most was my writing. So for French, I'll be like, I say just make sure because writing is coursework, and if that lets you down, that should be very disappointing, because you've got all the time to prepare. You can talk to your teachers about it. So make sure you're nailing down the writing aspects and getting the highest mark you can in the coursework, and then in the exam it's all about luck and making sure, again, past papers for French, especially speaking, listening, etc. They were very crucial, especially, and geography as well. I had coursework, it's like 25% coursework. Out of 50 marks you have to do a field trip and assessing the house distribution, etc. I remember I went to the Lake District, and yeah, that was quite a fun experience. And yeah, I just spent loads of time going through my revision book for geography, making notes on that, picking out key bits, again noting on flashcards. Anything else I'd like to suggest? But yeah, maths especially, literally the only way you can realize how good, if you're getting better at maths, is by doing past papers and questions. So make sure you're spending time on that. And apart from that, IT was just another. IT was a good GCSE, where we just had to. Many of the questions were common sense, but still you had to learn key sets of facts, etc. Oh, another thing I forgot to say, for the sciences, I did AQA, and especially if you've heard of CGP are very good with their revision resources. So for science, I got the AQA GCSE biology student textbook. So it's like not the main textbook, but it's a student textbook, and it has diagrams, it follows the spec, and it's very closely linked to what you need to know. And at the end of every subtopic, so every 3-4 pages, it has a set of exam application style questions, which were very, very helpful. I also put a link for them down below. They come in every exam board, majority of them, AQA, EdXL, WJAC. So yeah, you can scroll to their website and see what meets your needs. And yeah, so I print the specification alongside that, and I'll highlight whatever I've done. So then I know, okay, I've covered this point, 1.1 from specification, 1.12, etc. So it really helps you keeping track. So yeah, I strongly recommend you do that. And apart from that, yeah, I think that covers the majority of the tips. But yeah, please, if you've got any other questions regarding GCSEs, any advice you want on choosing what subject, at medical schools, X, Y, Z. Yeah, as I said, some medical schools look at it a lot, some don't look at it as much. So you got to make sure you play to your strengths. And yeah, please, if you've got any questions, please put them in the comment section down below, and like and subscribe. So I'll catch you in the next video.